Okay, hi everybody. I'm Dr. B. This is Chemistry 1100C, Section 12 at Rasmussen College, and this is our first live classroom. This is not actually the live classroom. I'm pre-recording this. I've heard that the archived recording can take a while to get there, so I'll put this on as a YouTube video in case there's any issues. And be aware that the actual live classroom could be a little bit different than this, but it's the same slides, so off we go. So here's what we're up to today. I want you to remember why you're here and help us sort everything out, and we'll figure out why you're here, why chemistry is awesome. I'll also point out some relevant chemical structures to what's going on for us right now. We'll have a look around Blackboard primarily. And we'll take a good look at the syllabus, the calendar, some resources. We'll take a really close look at our module for this week. That's the weekly assignments. And we'll give you some assistance with it. Since this is the first week, we'll help you with the first lab, including how we're going to mix things in an online manner. How we'll do some common conversions, and I've solved some of those for you. The second lab, which is a density lab. And the first assignment, which is very much the core material. That's the stuff I'd recommend you make sure that you know well for the quiz, and I'll talk about what's on the quiz. And some few final words, and there you go. Okay, normally I'd be opening things up to questions, but since you're not here, off we go. I just recently posted a couple of pictures here. This is what's called the spike protein for COVID-19, the first part that interacts with the human body. Um, COVID-19 has a molecular weight of about 100 million. So there are a huge number of atoms, and its complete atomic structure is still being worked out. Although its general structure, you've probably all seen that big sort of ball with all the spikes sticking out of it. This is one of those spikes. Here's a substance that's very much in the news. This is hydroxychloroquine, otherwise known as HCQ. And there's the chemical structure here. You see the chlorine atom, the nitrogen atom, the oxygen atom. These bends all mean carbon. Carbon always forms four bonds. So can you see how there's 1, 2, 3 bonds here? There's a hydrogen implied there. Nitrogen forms 3 bonds, and it has them. This nitrogen has 3 bonds. Oxygen tends to form 2 bonds. See how it has 2? So you might notice a pattern. HONC, 1, 2, 3, 4, honk if you love chemistry. See, you already learned something. And that's what you're here for. You're here to study chemistry, and what better time to be getting a look at things. Even our own president is discussing hydroxychloroquine and its metabolism, its pharmacokinetics, things like that. Anyhow, chemistry, I believe, is awesome. We get to blow stuff up. We get to provide molecular answers to problems. Those of you who have been through Blackboard and watched some of the videos will see some of this stuff is being repeated, but I think it's relevant, and I think that's a good thing. I would like to believe, and the posts that you guys have made so far really do lead me to believe that you want to make a difference. You'd like to help with some unmet needs, cancer, pain, disease, viruses, right? Retroviruses. Chemistry is like a big arch. It's a gateway to great fields, medicine, engineering. So many of you are in various fields of nursing. I confess that all these acronyms that you're including in your discussion board posts about the particular flavor of nurse that you are or want to be, I'd love to learn more about that myself. Let's define chemistry as the study of matter. That's what we'll be looking at. Everything, if you will. And a chemical is a substance like this or any pure form of matter, whether it is harmful or harmless. Hopefully by the end of this course, you'll be thinking about things on a molecular level. If you see a rusty nail, I hope you're thinking about things like iron oxide. The essential question we'll be asking for these 5.5 weeks is, what is everything made out of? What is this virus made out of? How can we kill it without killing us? Right? How can we deal with it? How can we attenuate it and then use that as a drug? Okay, this is a reminder to me. Let's go ahead and have a look at Blackboard. A quick thing here, and I've posted the slides here, is that I have gotten a few questions as to how to submit an assignment. I've posted a link there that's from Blackboard itself. It's only about a minute and a half long that reminds you how to submit an assignment on Blackboard. And to cut to the chase, all of the assignments for the first week and every week are due Sunday at midnight. Okay, I'm going to bounce around for a second and go to what I see when I'm on Blackboard. I hope this is similar to what you see. I want to take a significant amount of time to bounce around because I have a feeling that some of you may be seeing this for the first time, or even if you haven't, there might be some parts of it that aren't completely clear. This is the course we're taking right here. This is the calendar. Here is me. So that's my name, that's my email address, that's my phone number. I prefer email as a means to contact me, but you can call me anytime you want as well. And that's my link right there. You can manage the course here. Here's the control panel. And if I click on this, this looks more familiar. This is the home page. Whenever you don't really know where you are, click on the home page and you'll get back into a normal sort of look. Here's the grades that I have a feeling you'll be taking a look at. Course messages is a way to contact me. I don't use this one as much. Not many people are. I prefer that you just use my email. I do check the discussion board regularly, at least every other day, usually every day. And I try to respond to all the discussion boards that are sent to me. I respond to all my emails within 24 hours. So that's ways to contact me. Here are some tools that you can use. This is generally a way to get to things that you can get other ways, but here's the syllabus, the roster, and things like that. Not all of these are relevant. Here's the syllabus. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Description of the course, what you'll be able to do by the end of the course, the required text that you get an online version of, some library resources, course requirements. I'll have more to say about that. There's all the points that you'll learn over this 5.5 week. I've divided them up on a slide that I'll have you see, and it shows you exactly how the entire 5.5 weeks are divided up. The discussions that we'll have every Wednesday at 7. And by the way, if people are not happy with this meeting time, if you want it earlier in the week, if you want it earlier in the day, mention it in the discussion board. And if we see enough activity on it, I'd be happy to modify that date so that it works better for everybody. I am aware that you might start working on things on Monday, and if we don't discuss until Wednesday, that might not be ideal for you. So think about that. Documentation style does not apply to us as much. We're typically only writing lab reports and taking quizzes, but this resource is available. You'll have to do some readings. You'll be given some assignments. Now be aware that the initial assignments that you see don't have a point value, but are very important in terms of learning the core material. After that, there are quizzes that you have to take, usually 1 per unit. Labs, 1, 2, or 3 per week. And then there's a final exam. And we have the live classroom, which you'll be listening to a little bit later today. And once it's all breaks down, of these 990 points, you'll see that the largest percentage goes to the labs, which is interesting. By the end of this week, you'll have done 2 of them, and you'll get a feel for what it's all about. It's a little bit painstaking. You have to read each thing, do what it says, but a regular lab is like that as well. And you may find it insightful. For example, the density lab that we're doing, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that out in the real world for one of my labs for my students and some of the other schools that I teach at. The grading scale is pretty normal. Instructor participation is something I like to see. The attendance policy, and this is getting a little boilerplate. Late submission, 10% per day. The incomplete policy. Academic integrity. If you submit some documents, they will get checked for plagiarism, so be careful on that. When I give some advice how to solve some of these labs, I'll giving some sample numbers. If I find that everybody's using my sample numbers, that would be not good. I'd like you to be doing your own work please. Okay, that's the syllabus. Moving down, we have an electronic version of the text, which is great. Every week you'll be asked to read certain sections of it. It's not really organized by page number, it's organized by section number. The discussions are important. We've got 112 posts already. I've read just about all the ones that I am supposed to. And by the end of this week, make sure, in fact, it was due yesterday, so you could still pass it with a late deduction, but make sure you've posted on this and sent a reply by the end of the week. You should, I don't want to reveal names, but there's a lot of useful stuff here. There's a lot of good, friendly rooting each other on this site, which I think is also nice. If you're wondering where to get started, a good place is to click on the Getting Started link here. And this gives you a little welcome to the course. This is overall just what you're going to learn. And then this gets right into the nitty-gritty here. This is the first unit right here, and what you're going to be working on. It proceeds on Module 2. Module 3. This shows everything for the whole 5.5 week, right down to individual assignments, modules, the works. Okay. Okay, and here they are, the individual modules here. And some course tools down here. Okay, let me go back to the slides here. Let's start talking about the week 1. We're already 3 days in, 4 if you include Sunday. And there's a video here which you can click on and watch, but I think I'll just talk about the different sections here. Here's what you're going to learn. This is exactly the same as what you'll see on the module on Blackboard. We'll be studying just introduction and basic chemistry measurements. Here's the assignments that you should look at for review. If you feel like you're weak on math, this is a great time to review all these things. These have no point value, and if you think you're solid on it, you don't necessarily have to review them, but I think you're going to get in trouble if you don't. For example, if you are not comfortable with significant figures and the rules for adding and subtracting, which are different than the rules for multiplying and dividing, you're going to find that completing the lab is difficult. So I'd recommend you take the time that's needed. If you don't like these sections here, you can try these optional videos. You can see that these are clickable. These are little 5-minute videos that I've prepared over the years for this. And I recommend that as a general pacing chart, you take maybe 1 to 2 days to cover all this material. More if you feel like you need it, less if you'd like to dive into the point value stuff. You could try reviewing this as much as you need to. Try the modules and like, oh God, I don't know how to start these. And then you go back and you review a little more. So I'm sure as the weeks go by, you'll learn how to dial this in. But here's the recommended pacing chart. Do these initial assignments over the first couple of days. Make sure you put in a discussion post each week and a reply. On Wednesday, we have the live classroom at 7, complete for this week 1. Today is a good day to do the first lab. Thursday is a good day to do the second lab. Friday is a good day to do the assignment. Saturday is a good day to take the quiz, which is about 20 to 25 questions, all multiple choice. On Sunday, make sure you've done everything, and if you have, you've done it in advance because you were good and you can rest and get ready for the next week. That would be a nice thing to do rather than doing it at the last minute. Okay, here's the points for the first module and how it breaks down. 2 labs, an assignment, a quiz, the live classroom, 15 points for attendance and the level of interaction. At some point during this live classroom, I'm going to say the magic word and you're going to submit it. And I'll do that when we have the actual live one, so make sure that you know that I know you were there. So here's the first lab, how the 35 points break down. This is called the scoring rubric. This is verbatim from how it was scored in Blackboard. And the labs, the assignments, 1 point each, the quiz. And by the way, the quiz is very much similar to the assignment. Well, not very much, but if you had to study one thing to do well on the quiz, I'd recommend studying all the material that's on the assignment. Okay, I am going to play these. These are some assistance that I've offered for each lab. Now, this is going to be over 15 minutes long, it looks like. No, this is not necessarily 15 minutes. That's how long we're into this thing. I do want to play this, and while it's playing, I might actually embellish, talk over myself a little bit if I think it's relevant. But this is some assistance with the very first lab. I'm pausing myself here with these annoying images. And you've probably learned by now that, boy, that thing goes fast and it overflows quickly. You can always just restart if it gives you a hard time. So that was assistance with that week 1 module for mixing. But there was also some math. And I thought I'd give you some help with that as well. It said convert the following. And so it's doing some unit conversions, scientific notation to numbers and vice versa. And then significant figures, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, even combos, which you don't see very often. So let's go ahead and play this. This, I think, is a part that some students are going to struggle with. So watch as I do these, and you can, when I do this for real, you can ask me questions either by voice or on the chat line. Okay, that was hopefully a little bit helpful with that. And now it's time for lab number 2. I'll describe lab number 2 because I think it's kind of a cool lab. They're going to find out the density of 3 unknown substances by finding what you need for density. Since density is mass over volume, you're going to get the mass of each one by weighing it, and the volume of each one by just adding it to water in a graduated cylinder. The metal will raise the volume of the water, and how much it raises it is how much the volume is. And then you do mass divided by volume, look it up on a list, and you should get a match with a known sample. I like it. It's a good lab. Let's go ahead and watch some assistance.